There is no certainty in your life. Like, none. Doesn't matter which part you're talking about, whether it's about work, relationship, friendship, or anything that world has to offer. Even if you show up every single day for the things you care about and try to do things right, still none of it is guaranteed. It never was. And I know that sounds like something you already know, like, thanks for the update, bro. We already know that. Alright, jokes apart. Let's sit with it for a second. You grind for years. You cut off things that satisfies you or brings you pleasure, but you still cut them off just to be on the track. You show up every single day even when you don't want to. You tell yourself that everything's gonna be alright eventually. And then you look up and you are still not there where you want to be, even after years of grinding your ass. That's fucking unfair. I know that's unfair. It is what it is. It is unfair and it is the reality. Both the things are true at once. And nobody talks about it. Nobody prepares you for that. Here's what actually happens. Hard work does not guarantee the life that you desire. It never supposed to be like that. All it does is just reduce the chances of, failing to achieve that life. That's it. That's the whole contract. Nobody handed you a better one. You just assumed you had one. And I think that's where it gets people. Somewhere along the way, somebody told you that work hard and you will get whatever you want and it's gonna be worth it. And it got planted in our mind that it's some kind of vending machine that always gonna give you something back. Like you put in the effort and get the life that you desire. So when that day arrives when the machine does not give you back, and it's gonna happen more than once. It's not like it's just gonna happen once in a while. It's keep gonna be happening all the time. That's the process. And when that's gonna happen, you're gonna blame yourself, not the machine, but yourself. Why? Because the answer is the machine was never that simple. And nobody told you that part. There was actually a study on this. And it's kind of wild if you hear it. Back in like 1970s or something, a psychologist named Alan Langer, she sold lottery tickets to two group of people. One group just got handed with a random lottery tickets, and the other group, they got to choose their own ticket number. Odds are still same for both the groups. But later, when she offered them to buy those same tickets for herself by the same group of people, the people who choose the number for themselves wanted 4 times as much money to hand it over. Same chance of winning, but since they thought that they are involved in the outcome now, they believed they had more control over it than they actually did. And that's what we do with efforts too, right? We tell ourselves if we work hard enough, if we plan better, do everything hard, so we get to choose or control our outcome as we do. But you are not picking ticket numbers here. You are picking effort, and effort moves the odds. It does not lock in the result. It never will, no matter how much you want it to. And when someone finally gets hit with that reality, most people just quit and just move towards the other direction. There is this other thing in psychology too, which is called learned helplessness. Two guys, Seligman and Mayer, found out that if something gets put through different situations or enough situations where whatever it do, but it does not change the outcome, it just eventually stops trying. And here's the messed up part. Like, if the situation changes and Apple would actually work again, it will still doesn't try again. It already decided that no matter what it does, it's gonna be pointless. That's the trap sitting on the other side of, hard work isn't fair. You work hard, you try to put in more work, but you don't get back what you desired, what you pictured. And once you get hit with that, you just get to the point that why bother at all? Why grind at all if there is no guarantee? And I know how logical that sounds in the moment, but that's not actually logical, to be honest. It's just your pain talking. I'm not considering out your pain. The pain is real, but that's not even right either. All right, let's go somewhere even older than psychology. There was this guy, Epictetus. He was a slave in the Roman Empire, like a little slave, like somebody else owned him for real. Like he didn't even had control over himself. Someone else had that. And he was like surviving in the worst condition. Like he was physically worn out too. And out of that kind of life, people usually comes up with most useful ideas. And you can't even put those things in words. He just split it everything into just two piles. That is things that are in our control and the things that are not in our control. Things that we can control is your efforts, your choices, how much attention you want to give to something, your discipline. And what you cannot control is the actual outcome, timing, luck, etc. And his whole thing was based on this particular idea that stop pouring your peace of mind into things that you cannot control. Put it into that pile that you do control or you can control. Not because outcome does not matter, of course it matters. But if you're gonna obsess over the outcome, you're not gonna head anywhere else. What actually makes you move towards that outcome is effort. And that is in your control. Your effort might change something, but your obsession with outcome won't. There is still no guarantee, but there is still chances though. And most of the people chase completely opposite of that. And that's why they quit. That's why they can't control. That's why they can't get to the life that they want. There is a modern version of this too. Kelly McGonigal, she's an American health psychologist and she studies stress. And her take is basically that the goal is to never get rid of uncertainty. Even if you try to, you can't. It's in every relationship, it's in every job, it's in every goal that you are ambitious about. The goal is about changing how you perceive it, like how you relate to it. Uncertainty is not the sign that your plan is broken or something. It's just a tax that you are paying for to get something that actually matters to you. And I actually like that word tax because you don't get pissed off when every time your money gets taken off from your paycheck. You already know it's coming and then you plan your life around it. Uncertainty is just like that. You are to deal uncertainty just like how you deal with your money. Once you stop treating it like some kind of malfunctioning and just start treating it like a cost of paying it, it stops eating at you the same way. Alright, let's bring this whole uncertain things to real life than being abstract about it. You know that feeling like you are doing something, you're putting in effort, you have cut off all the distraction that comes on your way to keep yourself on the track, and you still end up getting the result that doesn't match your perception, that doesn't match your expectation. And then there is some other guy who is not putting in the same effort as you and still getting most of what you want. And he is getting it more faster and easier than you. And it just makes you feel like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? But that's not the proof that you are screwed about your plan. Maybe the other person that you're looking at, he doesn't care about uncertainty like you do. Like, think about it. If just hard work had given you everything that you desired, wouldn't everyone would have already achieved it by now? Like, everyone be living their dream life. But we don't see that. There are a lot of people in the world who's putting in their everything, like doing extra hard work. but still living an average life, or the life that they don't desire to be living like. And that's how things have been. It's always have been like that. You can't just change that. You have to live with uncertainty. That does not mean that your effort does not matter at all. Of course it does. That's the only way to move. That's the only way you can get closer to the life that you desire. Of course, there is no guarantee, but that is the only way to at least make possibility to achieve that life. Because if you just cut out that part of uncertainty, like if you're not certain about things that you're gonna get in your life, so why should I do it? Don't do it then. There is no possibility at all then. If you just accept that things are not certain and you are sick of this hardworking bullshit and don't want to work hard because there is no guarantee. So step back, bro. Nobody's forcing you to do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Do what pleases you. But I don't know if that's gonna give you the fulfillment either. And it's not just about, hard work. If the person is working hard and is obsessed with the life that he wants, he's not just gonna like put in the work. He will also like try to find the opportunity to get towards that life that is desire. Right? So it's not just that. It's about the whole experience. Of course, with hard work, timing and luck matters too. But the person who is stubborn about getting that life will create more opportunity and change his luck. You are never bro, you are never in control of your outcome. But you can control your efforts. I know that sounds too cliche, but what else am I supposed to say? Because even if I say anything, that's just gonna be like, fuck. That's just gonna sound like, a generic advice or something. I don't know. But that's the consolation prize. If you want something, you have to deal with uncertainty. And that's the entire game. The game is same for everyone. Of course, not for everyone. People who have a lot of privilege can have easier certainty, like less uncertainty. But every other person who have like built from ground zero and now are on the top of the position, they have lived with that uncertainty too. They weren't playing by different rules. They were actually living in more uncertain path, the more different path than the ordinary people. And that's what makes their whole journey, even more prestigious. At least for them, it is prestigious. So, the question should not be about how much, guarantee you have to achieve the desired life that you want. That question doesn't have any answer, to be honest. And you know what? If you keep chasing that question, you will gonna get more deep into, existentialism. And it will just create a whole loop. And you're not gonna like grow in anywhere. You won't grow in certain things that you're working on, and you won't even able to enjoy your life. I think the real or best question you can ask yourself is that what's the best move you can take from the position you are in right now that can lead you towards that life that you desire? And I think that's the better question, and that's worth answering. I'm not gonna answer that for you. That you can answer that because I'm not living your life. Everybody have different experience, different perspective, different experiences. That's how we have different identity, and that's how it's supposed to be. And I know once you get hit with this kind of question, you can't ignore it just like that. But keep digging the same question doesn't help either. What helps is just fucking ignore it. I know I just said that it's not easy to ignore it, but what else choice do you have? You have to accept it. or just fucking live in that misery of, uh, thinking that nothing is guaranteed and all. You won't be living the life that you desire. Fucking play it anyways, bro. You're gonna either achieve it or you don't. You're gonna know that unless you move your ass towards that direction. And it also comes down to, the fact that how bad you want. And still, even if you want it so bad, it makes it even worse, to be honest. Because it's unfair. It's a reality. It's brutal. Let's be brutally honest here. There's no sugar. I'm not gonna sugarcoat here. The reality is really unfair. But the only way to change that reality is by moving towards that direction without thinking about certainty. And that's the only way you will have your odds, towards that direction. And that's how you're going to be on the path towards that direction. And that's how you stay on it too. So, if you want to find out any conclude answer for, dealing with uncertainty, I don't think there is any. People either, cope up with it or accept it or just think of it like a beautiful part of the journey. And I think that's the bestest way to deal with it. There is no other way. If there is, you can tell me. I'm ready to listen. So that's pretty much it for the video. If you like the video, hit the like button. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.